Hey, you. Come closer. Closer. You want to make some money?
Hello, my name is Grumpy. Grumpy,
Right, so the Christmas patch is out. 322 is officially out for a couple of days now. And you want to make some money? I guess you do. Everybody wants to make some money. And here are the best ways how to make money in Star Citizen 322. The first and maybe the best way you can make ridiculous amounts of money in 322 is trading. No, it's not fixed. No, there are no cargo missions yet. But there is one spot that makes trading super lucrative. So if you own a cargo ship, go to the Pickers Field on Hurston, and in one of those broken down shacks, you're going to find a commodity shop terminal. They're going to be selling RMC or a recycled material composite for around 10,000 Alpha USC per box. And you can sell it back to Lorville or any of the main landing zones for 14,000 per box. So since the profit margin is around 40%, you can see how lucrative this can be. But there are some issues, and you gotta listen now, so come closer because this is very important. That's too much. Please back up a bit. Thank you. Give me some space. So yeah, a lot of people already figured this out, and even more people are gonna know about this after this video. So yeah, there are gonna be some issues. The first issue that you will face is that all of the landing zones are only buying a certain amount of RMC per hour. Some buy more, some buy less. But with a ton of people doing this, it can be hard to sell the goods back to the landing zones. So if you have time and patience, you can wait for the landing zone to refresh so you can sell more. Or you can do another run to the same station with a different ship and wait to sell the goods from both ships. The other thing that you can try is going to other landing zones. You're looking for the TDD or the trade terminals on New Babbage, on Microtech, or on Orison on Crusader, or Area 18 on ArcCorp. And obviously the first place that you should check is going to be Lorville on Hurston because it's the closest spot, and if you're lucky, you will be able to sell those goods on one of those spots. The second issue you will face is the piracy. Since everyone and their mothers will be doing this, there will be a big increase of pirates around the places where the goods are being sold. So if you don't want to hire other players as escorts, at least get a buddy to stay in your ship, because after you buy the RMC, it will be super easy to snipe you and take the ship away from you. And if you have a friend in your ship, he can just leg it so you don't lose everything that you bought. But there's one more thing. Those new commodity shops can be found on most of the new derelict outposts, such as the Maker's Point or the Cutter's Rig. The issue is that you cannot jump directly to most of those, and you need to get a mission to find them. Those missions could be found under the Mercenary tab, and they're called Evict Illegal Occupants or something like that. But since it's a new mission and a new spot, everybody will be going there to check it out. So it will be really hard to get one of those missions. I've been trying to get one of those for a couple of days now so I can record this video, but I had no luck, so yeah, here we are. But let's talk about salvage. And salvage is going to be the next big money earner, especially if you have a reclaimer. And you might think that since the price of the RMC has been buffed and the CM or construction materials has been nerfed, that you should go and hull scrape. But no, don't do it. Don't, please stop. Please, God, no. Do not do it to yourself. Please, no. Don't do it. There's a better way. First of all, it will take you a lot of time to scrape a single ship. And secondly, you really don't get that many SU boxes out of it. As an example, if you want to hull scrape a C2, you might spend up to an hour doing it, and you will only get 32 SUs of RMC out of the whole ship. And if you manage not to fall asleep while you're doing it, and you get all of the 32 SUs of RMC from a C2, you will earn approximately 450,000 Alpha USC, which is really not much. But if you hull munch it, you will get 200 to 240 SUs of construction material, and even though it sells for less, it will only take you 5 to 10 minutes to consume the whole ship. And in the end, when you go to sell that construction material, you will get 1.4 million Alpha USC. If you have a reclaimer, of course, because the reclaimer has a dispenser that can hold up to 240 SUs that you can dispense afterwards, right? But if you have a vulture, well, then you're fucked. For you, the unfortunate vulture owners, I really tried telling the developers through Spectrum and my videos to not kill the vulture, and they did it anyway. So let's have a moment of silence for the vulture. The best thing that you guys can do is to just jump around the system and hull munch everything you can, and then go and sell it with your ship being filled up to the brim. So I'm talking about the whole cargo area being filled, which is around 24 SCUs, and the dispensers still being full. The reason why I'm saying this is that you can use your multi-tools in most of the hangars now. So you can basically go and sell the goods to the admin office and go back to your ship to unload the last batch from the dispenser. And then go back to the admin's office again to sell the last batch. It's a pain in the ass, but it does conserve your time. But even with it being filled up to the brim, it will still make you about 216,000 Alpha UAC, which is really not that much compared to the time it will take you to fill it up. Going down the hull scraping route with the Vulture is better for sure, but it's also much more time consuming. But since everybody will be trading RMC, you might not be able to sell it at all. So I honestly believe that you should just hull munch and give up on power washing derelict ships, because it's just going to be a waste of time. I mean, even more than it was up until this patch. Now, the best way to earn money with a Reclaimer right now is to get the Hammerhead Salvage Rights mission from the Personal tab, since it will give you 250,000 Alpha UC once you finish the mission, and on top of that you will get around 1.4 million for the materials you got off of the Hammerhead. It's a chill thing to do, and they always spawn around Yela, so you can do it on your own. The other way to earn a quick buck is to take the Wake of Disaster mission, again from the Personal tab, and whenever I did it, I got around 3 to 5 million Alpha UAC for half an hour of playtime. But the issue is that you might bump into some not so friendly players over there, because it is basically a PvP mission. But if you have a couple of friends and you want to have some fun and you don't want to PvP, you can go for the VHRT bounties, or you can go for the server's beacons. Not a lot of people know this, but the Reclaimer is a monster when it comes to its armament. It has 2 size 5 guns in a manned turret on the top of the ship, and 7 remote turrets with 2 size 3 guns on each turret. So if you have a couple of friends that can man those turrets, the Reclaimer can kill basically anything that it sees, especially if it's an NPC. I wouldn't really take it out to jump down, but it can still easily kill some less experienced players. Unless you get rammed, of course, then even a Pisces can kill you. But let's talk about the last big money earner, and of course I'm talking about mining. And I talked about mining on my channel one too many times, but I didn't really talk about the changes because I didn't really feel like there is a need to talk about it. And I'm not saying that the changes weren't positive, because I believe that mining is in a really good spot right now, but it just wasn't that big of a change like some people say it was. It all still works and looks the same, but instead of spending 2 hours scouting and trying to find a good Quantanium rock that you can mine, because the rest of the mineable rocks are just dog shit, you can mine basically everything you want now. And if you have a mole, that's exactly what you should do. But just don't try the mining gadgets. Like, they're a great idea, they worked great, but they unfortunately don't work for a couple of patches now. And if you have a mole, all you need is to get a Helix mining head and 2 hoof on a steed. Mining heads, and the reason is simple. If you're multi-crewing a mole, the half steeds, whatever, mining heads will give you a bigger optimal window, while the Helix is going to give you more power. And if you're mining alone, you can just use the hoof steed mining heads, half steed, on smaller rocks. The same goes for the Prospector. Other than that, the best things to mine are of course going to be Quantanium, Baxilite Gold, and Terranite, and then you have tier 2 things that are Agresium, Beryl, Boreas, Hephaestionite, and Laronite, whatever the things are, because they all just like made them up. But as I've said, you can collect basically everything except the inert materials, and it will make you a ton of money in a pretty short time. And when it comes to the refineries, I myself always use the Dinks solvitation method, and even though it has the slowest speed, it will give you the highest yield, which in the end will get you stupid rich really fast. And of course, you still have the option to do VHRTs and ERTs or Wake of Disaster missions and get the drugs and the Weevil eggs out of those ships. But even though I noticed that this was nerfed, I still have a lot of people telling me that they had a lot of luck with those missions. I myself haven't, so it's not something that I would advise you to do, but you never know. It could be a waste of time, but then again, you might get lucky. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and thank you to all my patrons that are supporting me. If you want to become a patron, the link is down in the description. You have the join button on YouTube. You have the super chat while like the whole thing is running and all of that. You know how YouTube works. But also don't forget to like, favorite, share, subscribe, MySpace, TikTok, and all of that. So anyway, thank you for watching, and don't forget to bring a towel when you're traveling through space, and mwah, bye.
Grumpy invited me into his
Sex then?
We call it the inner circle.
he invited me into his inner circle a little less than a year ago. This is my first time actually playing Star Citizen with him.
Yeah, he
Oh,
added
don't worry.
me. He added me like 2 days ago.
Let me give you a crash course on how to play with him. He's super passive aggressive, and you pretty much just do what he says, and you try to be quick. Because if you're not, he'll keep asking you, "Hey, what you doing? Where you at?" That's
Oh no, I know all that. I played DayZ
Okay,
with him. It's kind of a similar experience.
Oh, that's right. You played DayZ with him for a while. That's right.
It's kind of a similar experience.
Yeah. No patience,
Except-
passive aggressive. You're good.
My wife's going to be mad at me when she comes up here. She's going to be like, "I thought you were talking to your friends." I am talking to my friends on Discord while playing a game. She just streamed for 3.5 hours and left me with 4 kids. Well, yeah, and
You wanted them, so.
wow. If I were to repeat that, I'd definitely be on the couch for a few weeks.
Rob is going to be a fantastic
know.
father someday, I think.
Right? I'm gonna be like Homelander, just pushing my kid off a fucking roof.